What's going on, guys? Welcome back to part number 2 of the Tech 3 challenge on MotoGP 25, riding for the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 squad for the French Grand Prix today at the historic Le Mans circuit in France. If you missed the first episode, be sure to check it out, but it was Marc Marquez who dominated the proceedings, sprint victory and the race win to lead Fabio Quartararo by 8 points in the championship as we head into round number 2, the French Grand Prix here at Le Mans. Conditions pretty perfect, but it was not a perfect start for us in free practice. Well, practice to set the order for Q1 and Q2, and unfortunately for the second weekend in a row, we are going through Q1, but we're joined by Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia here in this one. So not a good start, and it actually got even worse because in free practice we made contact with Agora. We were slipstreaming Agora down the back straight. He broke a little bit earlier than me and we kind of just clipped him a little bit. Nothing dramatic or anything like that. You know, nobody crashed. We both stayed on the track, on the bike, etc. But we were given a long lap penalty for impeding Agora. So unfortunately for the Grand Prix, later on in the video, we have got to serve a long lap penalty, which is not ideal in the slightest. So the story of practice, really, we had good race pace. We were inside the top 10. We were floating about 6th or 7th on the race pace. Everybody then put the soft tyre in, improved. We put the soft tyre in, and we weren't really able to improve by much at all. So a little bit frustrating with that, but it is what it is. And yeah, we're just going to try and leave it all on the line in qualifying. So we're coming to about midway through the first lap. It's not been a bad lap, really. Been quite clean, quite tidy. I think there was a little bit more time out there, left a little bit of time on the table as we head into the Blue S's for the first time in this Q1 session. Try not to extend on the exit. We did that absolutely perfectly, using every single millimetre of the curb as we head through the garage section, the Garage Bleu section of the track, and then into the final 2 corners and record them on to end the lap. We missed the first apex at turn 13, and we just about get record them on near enough perfect, and across the line it's a 1:31.7, which well, the top guys in practice were well into the 28s, so that in itself says a lot as we skip on to the end of this lap. Much more time in our back pockets, half a second, but a mistake into the entrance of turn number, number 9, cost us a lot of time, and we try and make up the time again, and it all just has gone away from us. And as we enter the final 2 corners, we obviously ran wide here last time, so we will be able to rescue a little bit of time, but we've lost about 7/10 of a second, I think, in total, which is frustrating because it could have been down into the 30s, which might help us later on in the session. But it's a 31.4, and unfortunately that does not do us anything, really. P20 on the grid, a 30.9, a 30.8, and we would have been challenging Pecco Bagnaia for that spot in Q2, but unfortunately it's not the case, and we're going to be starting these races from 20th on the grid.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here again for Saturday's main event, the sprint race. The duration is half of tomorrow's race, but the level of competition on the track is the same.
Here we go then, it's sprint time in Le Mans. Similar conditions to qualifying 1, and we know that we do have a good race pace. We were floating around that 6th, 7th, 8th marker throughout practice session. So we know that if we get a good start, we can try and move forwards, and a good start is key. And on the MotoGP games, a good start is relatively straightforward, let's say. It's much easier to get a good start on the MotoGP games. Quick run through of the grid. Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia went from Q1 misery to front row glory. Marc Marquez on pole position, and Pecco Bagnaia lines up alongside him with Alex Marquez on the front row. We're selecting our tyres. We're going for the soft tyres for this one, so let's see what we can do in this 5-lap French Grand Prix sprint.
The riders are lined up on the grid with Marc Marquez ready to start in pole position. Just a few more seconds until the lights go out and the Grand Prix begins.
Here we go then, 5 laps of the French Grand Prix, starting from 20th on the grid. It's a long run towards that first chicane, so let's see what we can do as we go racing for the first time in France. It's a good start compared to what we did in turn last time out, and we are going to make up a handful of positions on the way into turn 1, already up into P16 as we run a little bit wide on the way into turn 1, but we do just about make it through. A little bit of contact with our fellow KTM riders using that inside line, much like we did in Argentina last time out, and we're up into P8 already, so it's been a great start, getting ourselves straight away into the points. P20 to P8, yeah, alright, it's not the most realistic thing in the world, but we'll take it, and we're already challenging Antonio on the VR46 Ducati, but running into Museum Corner, we run very, very wide, and that allows DG back up the inside, but we're going to try and get the switch back now as we head into the Garage Vert for the first time, and we do move up into P7, so it's a good start again, making positions in the early couple of corners, and we're now behind Alex Marquez, who, if you've seen the last episode, no love lost between myself and Alex Marquez after he T-boned us halfway round the lap and pushed us wide, and gave us a little bit of a race as we had to charge our way back through. So yeah, no love lost between myself and Alex Marquez, but at the minute we're making a little bit of a mistake, a little costly mistake there at the S's, and we've dropped back behind Antonio, where we kind of got a little bit stuck now as we skip onto lap number 3, but in the slipstream we might be able to make a move on Antonio into the S's. It's going to be a late one, it's a bit of a rub, but we do make it through, and we get ahead of the Italian, and we're back into what is P7, and now we can try and get away through Alex Marquez. But we do need to be careful, because if you look on the right hand side of the screen, when this Fernandez warning dips away, we have got ourselves a couple of track limits warnings, and basically the story there is we look to go around the outside and we can't get it stopped on Alex Marquez. But the story is, effectively, I was touching the inside curb and I was just being sucked into the inside. I was just being pulled into the inside, and ended up kind of just touching the green on the inside of the corner rather than extending it on the outside of the exit. So getting a little bit frustrated there, but we do set the fastest lap of the race, so 1:32.008, and there you go, there's another example as I frustratingly flick the camera and then have a huge moment over the top of the hill. That's going to give Antonio a bit of an invite and a bit of an intention to go up the inside, and he tries it up the inside, and I think he might have it on the run up into Museum. We're leaning on Digi, we just about hang on. We had to kind of chop his nose on the braking zone there, but we do just about hang on to P7, and we can now try and launch an attack on the Gresini, that light blue Ducati of Alex Marquez, who wouldn't like to be down in 6th place after starting on the front row, but he is at the minute behind Fabio Quartararo, and then it is I think it's Jorge Martin in P4, and then Bagnaia, Morbidelli and Marquez out front, but it's a bit of a late move up the inside of Alex Marquez, and we don't get it stopped, and we annoyingly go down the escape road, so we're going to have to rejoin the race back behind Antonio just to make sure that we lose a second in that sector. And I think we probably haven't lost a second, but we did lose a position, so we're going to take that one. But now skipping on to the final lap of the race, halfway round the final lap into the Garage Vert section for the final time. Don't make a mistake, don't touch the green, don't lose the front. We've got, what's that, 1 track limits warning left before we're being given a penalty, but Marquez has got a poor run out of Garage Vert, and that is a free position for us, and we're up into P7 for the final time as Marquez comes back at us. We're going to try and switch back on the exit of the S's to try and move ourselves back up into P7. Antonio holds 6th. Marquez is in deep though. We broke a little bit earlier to get the bike turned. Can we get ahead of Alex Marquez in this final section? We try and go around the outside. We pick up a little bit of damage. I saw briefly flashing up on the inside. We do get through on Alex Marquez, but we're not going to get it stopped, and he's going to switch back. And unfortunately, it's going to be P8, I think, at the line for this sprint race across the line. It's more points on the board, but it is going to be P8, and we get beat by our little rival there, Alex Marquez, right at the end. But it is his brother Mark who continues where he left off. He wins the sprint race with Morbidelli 2nd and Bagnaia 3rd, and that for the championship gives Marquez a 15-point lead over Quartararo, with Martin 3rd, Antonio 4th, Morbidelli 5th, and Ducati continue to lead the team championship, taking over from Yamaha, and Ducati lead the Constructors' Championship ahead of the 9-lap Grand Prix in Le Mans.
Hello and welcome to all you bike fans. We're in France and broadcasting from Le Mans, one of the most iconic circuits in the world. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the MotoGP class race.
So after a sprint race that brought us some more points for the championship, it's now time to go racing. It's the Grand Prix of Le Mans, the Grand Prix of France, the French Grand Prix at the iconic Le Mans circuit here in France. It's again similar conditions, cloudy conditions, like we've kind of seen all weekend throughout practice, qualifying and the sprint race. So tyre choice should remain the same. We'll stick with the soft tyres, I think, for this race. Obviously a little bit longer. We've got 4 more laps, which obviously will bring tyre issues into it, bring a bit of tyre management, but also for our sake, after what we were struggling with in the sprint race, we've also got to be careful of track limits and not to get a long lap penalty in this French Grand Prix.
The riders are lined up on the grid with Marc Marquez ready to start in pole position. Just a few more seconds until the lights go out and the Grand Prix begins.
So here we go, the French Grand Prix, where we do already have that long lap from practice hanging over our heads. We don't want to get another one with track limit, so we need to be careful. But the lights are on, the ride height device is down, and we are go for 9 laps of Le Mans here in MotoGP. It's a good start again as Zarco gets a wobble on. Acosta comes across us and puts us a little bit wide onto the green as Mir goes down in front of us. Johan Mir has crashed already on the Honda as we again tiptoeing away through. I think that was Acosta, no, Binder maybe actually getting run wide in the background. It was actually Vinales. I got there eventually. Vinales was running wide in the background, but we are up into P11 as we get past Ralph Fernandez on the right-hander and through on Miller, maybe into Museum. We can't get the back end of the bike hooked up. The tyres are cold at the minute. We're trying to make progress as well, but we do get the switchback like we did on DG earlier on in the sprint race, and we do get through on Rins into Museum corner. So we are making a few positions up on this opening lap. I know that I need to go forward like we did in the sprint race because we do have that long lap, which will cost us a couple of seconds when we get round to taking it in a little bit as we look to go around the outside of DG, trying not to do what we did on the first lap of the last sprint race and run wide. And it has been a little bit scruffy. We've had a little bit of contact with riders, but we are a-okay as we get up the inside of Digi Antonio into the Garage Blue section, and we're up into P8. So we're where we are, or where we were at the end of the sprint race, as we look to go around the outside of Fermi and Aldeguer, and we do that as well. So we're making progress here in Le Mans as we end the first lap. It's Bagnaia though who leads Marquez, Morbidelli, and then it's the battle of Alex Marquez, Jorge Martin, and then Fabio Quartararo, who's next on our hit list. But we are going to go and exit stage left here and take the long lap penalty and get that out of the way on lap number 2. I felt that that was a good time because we could slot back in just outside the top 10 and then work our way back through. So at the end of lap number 2, we are going to be in a P11 as Ralph Fernandez gives us a bit of a tap, and then that just pushes us to the inside, and we pick up our first track limits warning, and actually lucky to get away with a second one there as we ran wide on the exit of that Blue S section. And yeah, really a bit frustrating, and then we actually pick up another one. So yeah, a little bit frustrated, a little bit rattled after serving that long lap penalty. So yeah, we just need to keep our head in this part of the race. So moving on to lap number 3, we're trying to get a line up and a move done on Jack Miller on the Prima Pramac bike, and nice and easy round the outside, and we move up into P10 as we now look to take another position on the exit. So one going in, one going out, and just like we did a lap ago, or a couple of laps ago, we managed to get Alex Rins as well. So we're now bit of clear air into P9, and we're going to try and work our way through on Digi and Antonio. We set the fastest lap of 32.1, not quite the 32.0 that we managed in the sprint race, but it's certainly close. So pace is exactly the same and exactly as it was as we climb up towards the Dunlop chicane for the 4th time. Digi and Antonio just ahead. We got a little bit of a slide from the back as we again get a little bit of a slide from the rear as we just shifted into 3rd gear there at the top of the hill. But we're lining up the move nice and wide on the way into La Chapelle, get the switchback, get the power down, and we do move up into P8 momentarily, but DG comes back at us, and we just get again the switchback on the way in. We read that perfectly, and surely now we have managed to maintain P8 and take P8 from DG, and we can now look at trying to get ahead of Fermin Aldeguer on the Gresini, the rookie in MotoGP, who obviously replaced the outgoing Marc Marquez, who is still sat second in this Grand Prix to teammate Pecco Bagnaia. But the gap compared to when we saw the replay camera at the end of the lap, as a rider further back picks up a long lap penalty. I noticed there just as the graphic left the screen, but we've gone wide and annoyingly find ourselves back behind Digi and Antonio. So whilst the gap closes at the front with Marc, we've got work to do still, because we've now conceded that position to Digi and Antonio as we get caught up on the curbs, annoyingly again costing us time in places that we really shouldn't be costing ourselves time. But it's now going to be a drag race on lap number 5, I believe, as we head down into the S's for the 5th time. But again, Digi later on the race, a little bit more confidence at the Chamon Booth section. I keep calling it the Blue S's. It's not the Blue S's, this is the Blue S's at the end of the lap. But yeah, still settling down. We've had a little bit of hairy moments, a few mistakes. We just need to, you know, keep our cool and see what we can do. But lap number 6, the chance to move forward might be now, as the battle rages on between the two Ducatis. We've got VR46 against Gresini. We're going to look to switch back and make it 3 wide in the middle of the museum corner, and nice and easy with the switchback we get ourselves up into P6. So we take 2 for the price of 1 there, and we are onto the back of Quartararo in actually P7, sorry. So P7 in this race. Quartararo 6th, and we're going to try and work our way forward to see if we can actually get challenge Jorge Martin for what will be P5 in this French Grand Prix, and what would be our best result of the season so far. So we're slowly getting closer to a podium in this championship. I wonder if it will come. We'll have to wait and see, but we're lining it up now to get past Quartararo on the run up into Museum, and we might even try and have a look at Martin. We can't get Martin, but we do get Quartararo, and we're into P6. We're into the top 6, and just like we've done so many times in this race, we take P5 from Martin on the exit of the Museum corner, getting the traction, getting the power down, and we are up into P5. And there's a bit of a gap to the leading quartet of the 2 factory Ducatis that is still headed by Bagnaia, Marquez second, then it is the VR46 Ducati of Morbidelli, and then it's Alex Marquez. But on lap number 8, that's going to change as we run wide into the gravel. We couldn't get the bike stopped, we couldn't get the bike turned, and we couldn't avoid the gravel at La Chapelle, and we've slipped back to P7 behind the Aprilia of Martin and Quartararo. But we managed to pick up a position from Fabio straight away, and now we've got Alex Marquez looking at DJ and Antonio as we look around the outside, and we get up into P5, but we pick up a track limits warning as we just kind of got the bike all crossed up, turned in a little bit early, and then ended up running over the green. But as we skip to the end of lap number 8, the battle rages on. Quartararo's not done yet. He wants a top 5 in his home Grand Prix. We want a top 5 as well, but we're going to have to relinquish that position for now as Quartararo takes P5. But we're going to get the run, and we may be able to have a look for a big brave move up the inside of turn number 1. We go for it on the inside. Quartararo hangs on, but he's going to run wide. That's going to give us the line into the first chicane. We switch back once. We're going to line up a switch back again, and we're going to try and get the power down under the Dunlop Bridge, and we do get ahead of Quartararo. So we do take P5 from the Frenchman, but he's coming back at us again. But once again, we're just going to line up the switch back under him, the over and under, and we do take P5. And hopefully now that is going to be it. We're going to be able to break away from Quartararo, use the pace advantage through this museum corner that we seem to have over the other riders, and hopefully, touch wood, we're going to be unchallenged for the rest of this race. We're just going to keep it nice and clean and keep it on the road, and we should have a first top 5 in this championship. But a bit of a slide there as we exit the Garage Vert corner, and that might just give Quartararo the 10th or 2 that he needs to be able to launch an attack at the end of this lap. Keep it clean through the S's. We do just that. That's probably the best that we've taken the S's throughout this actual video, so learning as we go on. And yeah, nice and easy through these final couple of corners. We're not going to do anything about the leading 4, so we may as well just try and salvage what we get. But there's a warning popping up. It's Bagnaia, and it's going to be a long lap for Pecco, and we are 6/10 shy, 7/10 shy of taking what would have been P4 with Pecco Bagnaia's penalty, who just misses out on the podium. So Bagnaia wins his first race of the season, but he gets it taken away because of a penalty, and it's Marquez who wins, Morbidelli second, and Alex Marquez third. The championship standings at the end of that one, it's still Marc Marquez and Quartararo, it's still Ducati and Lovo leading, and it's still Ducati at the top of the Constructors' Championship. So there we go, that is episode 2 of the Tech 3 Challenge done and dusted. Next up we go to Barcelona for the Catalan Grand Prix. So until then, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the Catalan Grand Prix very, very soon. So until then, thanks for watching, and goodbye.